What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, it seems that the voice of black men who are advocating for President Donald Trump in 2024 is getting broader, is getting louder. And we have some celebrities who are chiming in and wanting to join the chorus of voices of black men who are saying that we believe that Donald Trump is the way. You all know where I stand on this issue, but I'm pointing out other voices that are chiming in. And, you know, some of them have been on the fence for some time. Some of them have been on the other team for some time, but better late than never. Here we have 50 Cent, 50. And Stephen A. Smith, both native New Yorkers jumping on the Trump train. But let's see what Fox News has to say about this, about these cats that are here late, but better late than never. Story says rapper 50 Cent says maybe Trump is the answer after seeing New York City give prepaid credit cards to migrants. Now let me say, y'all, I've been one who has been an advocate in my community. Y'all, let's do better. Let's do for ourselves. Don't worry about reparations because this government ain't interested in reparations. Plus, they 33 going on $34 trillion in debt. They can't afford to give reparations, but somehow, my God, somehow they found a way, found millions of dollars to funnel to illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, giving them credit cards to just spend away as they please. Even though we've seen recent reports in New York City, they're running off in department stores, stealing. They're shooting at folks. 15-year-old was just arrested for shooting folks in Times Square. And these are the folks you want to give money to? You just want to throw money at them on a credit card? I apologize to my community for saying we need to do for self. This government can't afford to give us reparations. And no, they can afford to do something. They can afford to do what they want to do. I just saw a recent interview with Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin, president of Russia. And he mocked America for printing money, driving this country into the ground economically. But somehow they find a way to give money to migrants, to give money to aliens, but won't give money to black folks in the form of reparations. Yeah, my logic was off, y'all. I said, number one, the country can't afford to pay reparations for the harm that it has done to the African American that it chose to create. Let's be honest. There was no African American before the formation of America. Y'all decided to enslave and invent the African American. Only you can answer for that. Only you can answer for why you did it, why it was so important for you. But here we are in 2024 as we fight to keep this country afloat, as we have elected politicians who seem to want to drive it into the ground, who seem to want to crash the plane, who seem to want to give reparations to aliens who aren't even citizens, who don't deserve a dime from this country. Y'all, let's get into this. Rapper 50 Cent says maybe Trump is the answer after seeing New York City give prepaid credit cards to migrants and this feckless mayor of New York City. Famous rapper 50 Cent recently expressed his displeasure over news that New York City is planning to allocate millions of dollars to give migrant families prepaid credit cards to migrant families. Okay, that's somebody needs an editor at Fox News. In a new Instagram post, the rapper even went so far as to say the policy might even motivate him to vote for President Donald Trump in 2024. Y'all, former President Donald Trump. 50 Cent says he might even get my vote. Well, join the choir, sir, because there's been a chorus of voices in recent times who have jumped behind Donald Trump and been advocating in the black community for brothers to get behind this former president and make 45, 47. The Inda Club rapper reacted to a New York Post story published Friday reporting on a policy pushed by the Adams administration that will take $53 million and distribute it among asylum-seeking families in the city in the form of prepaid credit cards. Y'all, this is foolishness. You taking this money and you giving it to God knows who. These folks haven't been vetted at the border, so you don't know who. Your government doesn't know who, but seems like these folks are focusing on Times Square. We've seen so many reports in recent days of criminality, folks kicking police in the head. You gonna give them thousands of dollars to a credit card? 15-year-old shooter in Times Square. You're gonna give him a credit card? You're gonna give his mother a credit card? Why is a 15-year-old Venezuelan shooter in Times Square? Well, because your government, including Mayor Adams, including your governor of New York, Hochul, including your president of the United States, Joe Dementia Biden. All these people on every level of government have let these people into the country unvetted, knowing full well that the countries from which they come are corrupt and unleashing these people to enter the United States. It's a problem, but it's good to see that voices like 50 Cent are joining the choir, trying to advocate for a president that would correct these issues. Because young black men who happen to be my focus, y'all, let's not get it twisted. I speak to everyone, but I am personally invested in healing the black community through the young black male. So this is who I speak to on a regular. And it's good to see that somebody like a 50 Cent, somebody that might get their ear, is talking right. Well, he's not the only one. Looks like Stephen A. Smith, who has risen to prominence in sports talk on ESPN, but has established his own platform on YouTube with his own podcast. Glad to see it. Stephen A. Smith has come out and said that, y'all, looks like President Trump might be the next president of the United States. Let's check out his voice as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trump's going to get reelected. Donald Trump's going to be the next president of the United States. If this kind of stuff that I'm reading continues to happen in American cities, Donald Trump is a shoo-in for reelection, even if he's a convicted felon. Now, that's a damn shame. But somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Did you read the story coming out of New York City? Did you read it? Involving Mayor Adams, Eric Adams, who I'm a fan of, by the way. I like him. But I don't like the story that I read over the weekend. And I think it's a story that can't be ignored. And it's talking about how $53 million in prepaid credit cards are in the process of being distributed to migrant families. Now I understand what people are thinking about, what they're wondering about here. Because they're saying to themselves, what's the problem if you're on the left? There's a big problem if you're on the right. No, it ain't that simple. We have to understand that we don't want people eating out of garbage cans. We don't want people starving. We don't want people separated from their children and children separated from their parents. We don't want this. We don't want to be cruel and inhumane. But illegal immigration has become incredibly pervasive since the Biden administration has taken office. We all know that he's capitulated to the extreme left. And even though we wouldn't say specifically and definitively that the borders are open, every time you turn around, particularly in states like Texas and Arizona, and to a lesser degree, California, it is an extreme problem. Well, guess where else it's a problem? It's a problem in New York City, my home. And I got to tell you something right now. If it wasn't for my daughter being there, I'd be gone. Don't like what I'm seeing. But it's not just because of migrants or illegal immigration. It's because it's mayhem. Folks don't know how to act. It's not an accident that the former president keeps bringing up law and order, law and order, law and order, because those are catchwords. Those are the kind of things that make you go to the polls and vote out of fear. And it works. Throughout history, it has worked. But now this is a different kind of fear, but a fear tinged with frustration. Because when you hear about migrants receiving $53 million in prepaid credit cards, the Eric Adams administration in the mayor's office in New York City will tell you it's going to save about $600,000 a month. But that's not how poor people are looking at it. You know what black poor people are looking at it like? You know what Latinos who happen to be poor that arrived in this country are looking at it like? Where that money come from us? I could have used it. I could use the extra $500 a month. I could use the extra $1,000 a month. I could do that. They want to sit up there. I just want to read some of this stuff to you because I want to make sure that we put it in its proper context. New York City will soon launch a $53 million pilot program to hand out prepaid credit cards to migrant families housed in hotels, according to the report. The New York Post has reported that 500 migrant families at the Roosevelt Hotel will receive prepaid cards to help them buy food. The program is intended to replace the current food service provided there, the Post reported. A spokesperson for Eric Adams said, quote, not only will this provide families with the ability to purchase fresh food for their culturally relevant diets and the baby supplies of their choosing, but the pilot program is expected to save New York City more than $600,000 per month and more than $7.2 million annually. Here are the stipulations. Migrants eligible for the program must sign an affidavit stating they will only spend the funds on food and baby supplies or else they will lose access to funds, the report said. Another stipulation, the amount available to each family depends on their size and how much income they are receiving, according to a contract reviewed by the Post. A family of four might be provided nearly $1,000 each month or $35 per day for food. If the pilot program is a success with the initial 500 migrant families, it'll be expanded to all migrant families staying in hotels, which is currently at $15,000, according to this report. More than 150,000 migrants have arrived in New York City since 2022, overwhelming city resources as Texas Governor Greg Abbott has bused asylum seekers to New York. Now, there are people who are absolutely appalled by that, playing around with lives. Fair enough. Mayor Adams has decried the bust arrivals as a humanitarian crisis and said that providing food and housing for the migrants will cost about $12 billion over 3 years. Adams traveled to Latin America on a tour to dissuade potential migrants in Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador from attempting to come to the city, saying the city, quote, is at capacity, end quote. Let me say this to Mayor Eric Adams, who I respect. That may be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a politician do. You're going to travel to a country that's starving, that's desolate, that's impoverished, that's desperate to come to the United States of America, and you're going to beg them not to cross borders into the United States and end up in New York City rather than going to politicians right here in America from different states like the Abbotts of the world, the DeSantises in Florida, Arizona, and beyond, and talking and negotiating with them? You're going to go to citizens and politicians in Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador to ask them for assistance? Have you lost your ever-loving mind? That makes no sense. That's about the worst plan I ever heard in my damn life. Why would they listen to you if they're desolate and starving and in desperate need? So much so that they come here, and even for $1,000 a month, that's exponentially better than whatever conditions they're facing in their respective countries. Why would they listen? It comes down to us and being able to work together as a nation. And clearly that's not the case. And so when you have this kind of mayhem going on, which, by the way, doesn't surprise me at all because it's an election year. And usually this stuff gets highlighted and illuminated even more during election time. That's how they like it. So you can pick and choose. What it came down to for me is this. I see homeless folks in the streets of New York all the time that are American citizens. I damn sure see them in California. We've got poor, impoverished, starving people who were born and raised in this nation. How in the hell do we come up with a $53 million pilot program for illegals, but folks who are here legally are born here, we don't have enough for them? Just like we could come up with billions for Ukraine, but somehow, some way, we can't fix the homeless problem. I'm down for helping Israel. I'm down for helping address the situations with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, okay? I'm down for helping the Ukrainians and fighting off Russia. What about poor and desolate citizens here? How the hell do you print money for foreign countries, but you don't print that money to help eradicate folks that are starving right here in the streets of America who were born and raised here? This is what I'm talking about. And so when you have something like that, what's the one way to eradicate it? Yes, you got to have a flourishing economy. Yes, you can't have inflation. Yes, you can't be on the verge of a recession. Milk don't need to cost $7. Bread don't need to cost $5. Don't get me started with how much sugar costs. You can talk about employment all you want to. You can talk about the labor participation rate. But guess what? If you ain't making no damn money and you got to get two jobs to pay the same prices or to buy the same amount of stuff that you used to buy and the price is higher than it used to be because of inflation, then guess what? What are you really accomplishing? That's why Trump is on the verge of getting elected, reelected. Because when he was in office, there was a flourishing economy. There was a whole bunch of other problems. And I personally think his return to the presidency is going to be civil war in this country because he's going to be desensitized to bringing anybody together because he's going to be on a revenge tour to get back at everybody who went against him. And I think it could be the worst possible thing for the country. But I can't blame 50 Cent, for example, when he sits up there and he's tweeting, Eric Adams, I need you to explain this to me. What the hell is going on? Maybe we should consider Trump. When he says something like that, like you can see right here, what he's saying when he said it on his social media page, I can't blame 50 Cent for that. You want to sit up there and excoriate Ice Cube now when he didn't pick sides in 2020, when he wasn't telling you to vote for Biden or Trump? He was just saying, yo, I want to present a plan for Black America and see who's willing to listen. And Trump gave the okay and the impression he was willing to listen. You want to call Ice Cube a sellout now? Trump got 12% of the Black vote in 2016. He got 16% of the Black vote in 2020. They're projecting he's going to get more than 20% of the Black vote in this upcoming election. That's what they're saying. And who's to say Black folks would be wrong to vote for him? I told y'all before, I am no Republican. I voted for one Republican in my life. That's Governor Chris Christie in New Jersey because I thought that Corzine was a disaster. I voted for Clinton. I voted for Al Gore. I voted for Barack Obama twice. I voted for Biden, despite the crime bill that incarcerated a whole bunch of people in the 90s that looked like me. I shoved all of that aside. All of it. Because I knew how divisive Trump would be. But as we sit here now and we watch something like this transpire, where there seems to be more rapt attention being paid to folks who are not even here illegally, nor are from this country, yet we want to turn around and ignore us. Black folks, Latinos, and beyond, who are impoverished and are in need. We know why you're doing it. Because you want that voting block. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, what did I say years ago when I used to give speeches and say I wish for at least one election, everybody vote, every black person in America votes Republican? Remember when I used to say that? You know why I used to say it? Because you'd have to flatter us from that point forward. You couldn't just take the black vote for granted. You'd have to show us what you're bringing for us, what you're delivering to the table. And oh, by the way, it's not just addressing recidivism in the prison system. We need more than that. We deserve more than that. And we certainly don't deserve to be ignored.
There you have it, y'all. Prominent voices in the black community amongst black males, particularly young black males. Folks is paying attention to what 50 Cent got to say. Folks paying attention to what Stephen A. Smith got to say. And here we are in February of the year of our Lord 2024. And these voices are rising up. They are joining the chorus. And mind you, ain't no sopranos in that chorus. But they are joining the chorus of black males who are speaking out in the community, trying to get folks to understand. Yeah, we got some old heads that need to be convinced and corralled. We got some young heads that need to be convinced and corralled to come around to voting for our own interests, things that are beneficial to us personally, so that we can better ourselves personally and become better contributors to the community, better contributors to America. And it seems like when we look at the federal government and the president who will put in policies that will allow us to be better contributors to the country, well, that president seems to be Donald Trump. And I applaud these brothers for coming out. Shout out to 50 Cent. Shout out to Stephen A. and all the other brothers who are joining the chorus. We can use your voice because we want to be better citizens of this country so that we can help our communities, we can help our families, and we can help make America great again. What do y'all think about this? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.